How's it going, ladies and bruises? I'm Bobby Sixkilla and welcome back to the Divine Deception. It's time for us to jump back into Thane's storyline. See where that's going to take us. We've got a bronze key to use on this one. Presumably we're going to be unlocking the next Laverna one before we get to the end of this one. So we'll be jumping back and forth. Let's see what happens. Blame the shooter. So far he's managed to keep his cover completely. Nobody's even suspected that he's dodgy, despite a few fuck-ups. Blame the shooter. The city was dark. Clouds covered the sky. The only lighting was what was provided by the dim, reasonably spaced out lamps scattered about Panthea Central Park. The air was cool, but not cold. I heard insects chirping. Everything was still. It would have been peaceful had it not been for one man. So, what do you make of that upcoming elections, Thane? To be clear, he still talked in a somewhat hushed voice. Considering we were hiding out, if he spoke in his usual loud, abrasive tone, he'd be doing a pretty shitty job. You could say a lot about Yi, but he did his job. Still, even quiet Yi found a way to annoy me. Or maybe I was just upset with my position. A few days had passed since the Milo situation. Annoyingly, that scene in the restaurant had stuck with me. And even more annoyingly, I wasn't able to come up with a solution in the intervening days I had. I was still stuck with the role of Thane. No, that wasn't quite right. I didn't have to be doing this. I could run away. Sure, maybe they tracked me down. Or maybe not, honestly. Considering everything, maybe I could quit and be fine. The more I thought about it, the more I figured that it would actually be pretty difficult, any way you sliced it, for the duets to pin Thane's disappearance to me. If I was really choosing the safest play, I'd just quit while I was ahead. But I couldn't be sure. I guess I'd be safe, but I couldn't be sure. And I couldn't risk the possibility I was wrong. Besides, dark as it may be, playing Thane might just have some upsides, assuming I played my cards right. So because of that, I was back sitting with Yi, waiting to do a job. Yo, Earth to Thane. I know it's late, but you're not nodding off in there, are you? Actually, shit, that's a pretty good idea. You could totally sleep through one of the old bastard's lectures in that mask and nobody'd be the wiser. I'm awake, Yi. You're asking about the election, right? Exactly. I want to hear your 2 cents on it. I don't know. I don't have anything interesting to say about that. Looks like Aja's probably going to win, which is fine. Of fucking course Aja's going to win. That's not the election I'm talking about. I'm talking about the presidential election. Our big beautiful nation's going to be getting a new leader before too long. Isn't that exciting? I guess. To be honest, I haven't really been keeping up with the race. Not really into national politics. Shocker that. Anyway, on a personal note, I'm sad to see the last guy go. Like his policies or not, he was a pretty respectable dude. I admired his style. If that was Yi's reason for liking him, I got the feeling Yi wasn't really all that interested in national politics either. But well, when your time's up, it's up. He served his 3 terms well. Now it's on to the next eager go-getter. Still, these 5 years pass in the blink of an eye. How time flies. I always thought 5 years was a little long for a presidential term limit. Doesn't let things change with the times fast enough. Thane, you're missing the point. Since there's a lot of time between elections, the president doesn't have to worry about re-election efforts. They can just focus on getting stuff done. Besides, what would you have the term lengths be? 4 years? 3? 2? No, you can't cut it any shorter, and what's the point of fucking electing someone in the first place? I guess you're right. And just like that, an awkward silence passed between the two of us. I figured Thane would be bad at maintaining a conversation. However, he didn't strike me as the type to usually let lulls like this stand. I had a feeling what this was about. And then, moments later, Yi confirmed my suspicions. Say, Thane, we're cool, right? Huh? Just the 2 of us. We're on the same team, right? We're good? Yi was probably still thrown off by our interaction at Milo's. Makes sense. It was an awkward situation. I had a feeling given Yi's general disposition that on some level he might still be suspicious about my actions that night. But that disposition was far outweighed, I figured, by Yi's need to actually have Thane on his side. Thane was actually a strong asset for Yi. One that he couldn't exactly afford to lose. Not now of all times. So any suspicions were pushed to the back. Yi needed to make sure Thane was still cool. He needed to make sure I was still cool. Of course. We're cool. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Is there any reason we wouldn't be? Not at all, I just wanted to check in with you, that's all. After the situation at Milo's? I waved my hand dismissively. Forgotten? Cool. Remember what we're working towards. Doesn't matter which one of us gets the duet headship. What's important is we make sure that bitch is kept in check. No matter what, she can't rule the duets. She won't. Frankly, teaming up against her like this seems overkill. Don't go underestimating her, Thane. She's a sneaky little cunt, that's for damn sure. She might act sweet around the base, but she's just as cutthroat as us. We proved that much, right? I know. Still, she's no match. That's for damn sure. He stretched out his arms. Just sitting here was somewhat uncomfortable. Anyways, you know, I keep thinking of Milo. Me too, you. Me too. Why's that? I don't know. Just was a character. Haven't seen his type in a while. Almost made me nostalgic, if you can believe it. Can't say I feel the same. That's fair, that's very fair. Not saying he wasn't a squirrely little fuck. Still, we have to admire the guts. To make a swing at us, no matter how suicidal. It's not gutsy, it's stupid. Yeah, I can see that perspective. It's a little sad though, knowing we drove him to force our hand like that. Every now and then I do get the odd pang of guilt when I see his type. I make sure to squash it, of course. Those sentiments are just unhealthy in our line of work. But you know, it's good to feel those vestiges every now and then. It keeps us human. You still feel those vestiges, Thane? Rarely. Never change, Thane. Never change. He took this opportunity to adjust how he sat and look over the bushes we were hiding in. Then he turned back to me. You know what the problem is, Thane? Milo's? That he didn't know his place. No, don't be so dark, Thane. No, his real problem was quite simple. He sought a justice tempered by mercy. Justice tempered by mercy? Yeah, it's an old quote I find more and more applicable as life goes on. He was hampered by his quest for justice tempered by mercy. See, if he leaned one way or the other, he would have been just fine. If he favoured pure justice, well, that was just a matter of killing as many of us duet members as he could. Pretty fucking extreme, I gotta say, but it's a clean way of fighting back. He's not exactly a fighter, sure, but if he just bought a gun, ambushed us one by one, I reckon he could probably rack up a decent kill count. On the other hand, had he just favoured mercy, just wanted to live and let live, then this wouldn't be an issue. He could mind his business, keep going along, living a sad little life, maybe be racked with guilt of knowing that he's let injustice prosper or some shit, but he'd be living, and that's definitely the main takeaway. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, he just couldn't commit. He settled on the compromise most make, seeking a justice tempered by mercy. And in that pursuit, he attained neither. It's certainly a way to view it. It's my opinion that most people have a lot more trouble in life than they need to, because they simply can't commit. And more people truly dedicated themselves to a single ideal, well, that'd be a lot trickier to deal with, but since we humans like to waffle about, we're rife with conflict. That's the way I look at things. Say ye. You have any limits? With the whole enforcing duet justice thing. Limits? Yeah, of course I have limits. You have to have limits to stay sane. See, for me it's children. Children, really. Yeah, see, in my opinion, it's impossible for a child to sin. They're just not capable of it. They don't have a proper understanding yet. Even if a child does some real shitty stuff, yeah, it's still not the child's fault. It's the person who raised the child's fault. I think if you had a really fucked up kid, it's more than likely it's the fault of some really fucked up parents. Fair enough. Okay, then what about this? Let's say there's this middle schooler who really fucking hates the duets, hates everything they stand for. Somehow they get their hands on daddy's gun, and as an act of pure spite, the middle schooler goes and shoots 2 duet officers when they're making the rounds. Do you enforce justice then? Well, Thane, I never said there were cases where justice wouldn't be served. Duet justice must be ironclad for the whole system to work. So then what would you do? Simple. The children are innocent. I'd kill the kids' parents. Okay, good reminder that I was in fact dealing with a complete psychopath. Nice to keep that in mind. Say, Thane. Yes, ye? I gotta ask. Why do you keep that mask on all the time? Uh-oh. I didn't like the direction this conversation was going. I really didn't like it. What do you mean? It's my job. I'm the shadow of Panthea. Yeah, I get that. I know that much. But we're not always on duty, you know? Plenty of times we're just shooting the shit. Like back at base. We've all seen your face, you know. So I just don't see the point in hiding it like that. Feels more annoying than anything. I was on full alert. To ye, this might be a casual conversation, but as far as I was concerned, I was already on the job. If this conversation went down the wrong path, I could totally be screwed. Luckily, I did have something of an advantage. By the sound of it, this didn't seem to be a new, recent thing. The Thane before must have also hidden his face most of the time. That gave me a decent bit of leverage. I just keep the mask on. Why do you care? Because we're pals, Thane. I just want to make sure you're doing alright. Look, we all know that Marduk was incredibly out of line. For him to do that to you, everybody's perception of him changed after that day. But I mean, it really wasn't that bad. Not talking about the pain, of course. It probably hurt like a bitch and all. I'm just saying, if you're worried about in but so many words, I had a rough idea of what happened. Marduk and Thane had gotten into a fight. This fight ended up scarring or burning or just generally messing up Thane's face in some notable way. Was that perhaps somehow related to how Thane got stuck with his job? Whatever, getting off topic. Point is, the natural arc of the conversation was that Thane shouldn't feel like he needs to hide his face. That's the path to moving forwards. The conversation very well could end with Yi asking me to remove the mask, just temporarily, as a stint of self-acceptance or some shit. So if that's the moral Yi was gearing up towards, I just had to replace it with a moral of my own. One where keeping on the mask was correct. Thane? I like the mask. You know how we were talking about the vestiges of guilt? The mask helps with that. I know I come across as robotic and shit, but that's intentional. I put myself in that state. And you know how I do it? I remind myself that I'm not me. I'm the shadow of Panthea. When I'm out of the mask, I can be my authentic self. In the mask I'm Thane, fearless agent of the duets. Wearing the mask, I feel like mentally it helps me keep things separate. Helps me stay sane. I don't know though. Maybe that line of thinking is in itself a sign of madness. No, I get it, Thane. What you explain makes sense to me. It does? How to put it? In psychology they say every human has something called a persona. Cheesy, I know, but humans are unique in this aspect. All other animals stay true to their natural selves, but humans we have a tendency to form identities. However, you know what's funny? This persona concept doesn't come natural to humans. If you're too young or mentally impaired or utterly devoid of autonomy, there are plenty of cases where you don't have a strong sense of identity. Some say that there are basically 4 reasons for this identity we all end up getting. You gotta understand your individuality, the fact that you're separate from the others. You gotta feel a sense of ownership over yourself, that you control your actions. You gotta have a sense of uniformity, that your identity matches those actions. And finally, responsibility, to the knowledge that those actions and the consequences from them connect back to the identity, back to you. Now these are some real basic ass requirements, which is why most people end up developing a persona. Still, I think understanding the requirements helps to understand this next point. And that's this. Most people don't just have a persona. At this point, it's customary to have a dozen. Your personal persona, well, that's the identity of how you understand yourself. But public personas are like different types of masks. Masks for all sorts of occasions. Mask of a son, mask of a father, mask of a boyfriend, mask of a teacher. One person can cycle through a dozen of these masks a day. I mean, this is some high concept shit meant to explain a pretty simple concept. You act differently depending on who you're talking with. Right. That's just human. People have dozens of masks, each with strengths and weaknesses. Some are braver, some are more cowardly, some are better liars, some are more charismatic, and some are more reasonable sounding. And they all stem from that personal identity, that personal mask that you wear when nobody else is around. What's the quote? There's a good quote for this. Right. Remember, you're an actor in this play called The World. You have just one duty, to act the role that is given to you well. Huh. Epictetus? That man may have a number of questionable views, but I always like that quote in particular. Anyway, what role you must act is a question you have to decide for yourself, and often it'll change on the drop of a dime. Only trick is, sometimes you get too sucked into one of those masks, you forget the other ones. You forget the most important one, your personal identity. So to that end, I actually think tapping into that physical mask to help differentiate things isn't a bad idea. When people's public persona are too different from their personal persona, some rough shit can begin to happen. This is why celebrities always seem one breath away from a breakdown. If you bite too heavily into separating your personas, some not good shit can happen. I mean, I heard about this one guy who suppressed all his sins into one physical mask. Let's say things got out of hand fast. Are we talking about Horse from Zodiac Trail? I feel like we're talking about Horse from Zodiac Trail. Is that a callback? Despite all that, being able to cleanly section off your personas with a physical reminder like that is probably a decent idea. I mean, it's not like there isn't a risk for that to backfire into some serious psychological damage, but then again, I kind of feel like there's no way to avoid that in our line of work. Don't you think? Right. I honestly didn't give a shit. I was just happy it looked like I'd gotten through the conversation without my identity getting exposed. Oh man, I wish I'd brought some smokes with me. Why didn't you? I don't know, man. I guess I just thought... I don't know what I thought, okay? I just chose not to. And it was a bad choice. This is a pretty casual conversation, which felt odd, since we were lying in wait to perform an assassination. I don't know. I guess I always pictured this sort of thing being conducted with a bit more gravitas, importance. It was a pretty serious situation, but Yi here wasn't taking it that serious at all. And given his reaction, I had to assume that Thane wouldn't either. Which is why I did my best to blend in. But it didn't mean I had to be happy about it. Didn't have to be comfortable with it. So, got something to say? Can we talk a bit more about the job? Oh, Thane, we're such a buzzkill. We still got a good bit of time. I really don't like dwelling on those specifics until we got her. What's a real damper on things? I'm just trying to be professional. Yeah, you always are, huh? Fine, fine. We can talk about it. Not much to say though. I mean, you could probably guess the long and the short of it. Judging by our placement and what was lying between the two of us, yeah, I could. To make a long story short, this is a straightforward hit. Your forte. Well, not quite your forte. This one's supposed to be a bit more subtle. Here we are in Panthea Central Park. No real cameras, plenty of trees and rocks and bushes, not like the ones we're hiding in right now. Perfect place for a little ambush. Especially at a time like this when absolutely nobody should be around. But unfortunately, someone is going to be coming around shortly. When we give them a little pop in the back of the head, settle things cleanly, a couple of minutes from now, there's going to be a poor guy in a grey hoodie walking right over to that set of benches. That's the guy you got to shoot. Presumably with that sniper rifle. Yep. It's clean, no ballistics lead back to you. Good. But to just shoot this guy in the back of the head? We don't want to make this guy disappear? The client didn't specify that, so I'm assuming not. Besides, this is not the sort of person whose death will make waves. Just a simple gunshot will do just fine. Client. Client? Who's the client? Oh, did I not tell you? This is coming from Art Deismer himself. Huh. Art Deismer's calling this one in. That... How does that make sense? Luckily, the mask blocked my look of confusion. Art, huh? Yep. It's been a minute since that dude actually contacted us for direct work. He probably hurts his pride. I get the feeling he doesn't like to consort with people like us. Yeah, I get that vibe from him. Still, he was the one who reached out to me in the first place, all those years back. One of the guys must have pegged me as one of the duet's more negotiation-friendly members. Our first meeting, he made no efforts to hide his contempt. But then again, he was the one who decided it was worth it to agree to regular payments to keep us in check. Make sure the duets never have their interests aligned against Olympo. The man must have thought himself pretty slick drafting up an agreement like that. Poor bastard didn't know that Marduk already told the rest of us that it was probably smart not to directly piss off Olympo. So the agreement was entirely unnecessary. Yeah, well, I didn't feel the need to tell him that. He's been a pretty reliable stream of income since. Once in a blue moon, he'll shell out extra just to have us settle something that he deems beneath himself. Like this hit. Yep. Well, like full transparency, according to him, he's not actually the person who requested this hit. He's like acting as an intermediary or something. Is that right? Yeah, well, I don't know if I actually buy any of that bullshit. He likes having plausible deniability on every goddamn thing. It's a nervous tick or something, I'm telling you. It really gets on my nerves. Anyway, intermediary or not, a job's a job. Yeah, but I didn't know how to phrase my next thought. I didn't know if I even wanted to vocalize it. Fuck it. If I double guessed every single thing I wanted to ask, I'd probably appear more stilted than usual and thus more suspicious. I should just ask things. Assassinations? Really? Is that really what the duets are? I mean, I'm not saying it's beneath us or anything. It's just, I don't picture the duets as a cheap organization you can just pay off to handle anything you want. Ah, I see. No, I feel that. Can't say I particularly enjoy arrangements like this, but what can you do? It's been a pretty good, damn good source of money, of free money. The job's worth a bit. We're here to make money. And more than that, we're here to keep our connections nice and happy. Sure, we could tell Art to go fuck himself, but what would that accomplish? Just piss him off. I'd rather keep him happy. So even if we don't love it, we're gonna have to do our job. I suppose. Hey, why are you complaining? This is super easy stuff, thing. Hardest part of the job's getting up at an hour like this. I suppose you're probably a lot more used to staying up late, huh? I wasn't wrong about that. I also didn't have anything else to say on the topic. It seemed like the assassination attempt was going to go through one way or another. I just needed to wait some. Just rest easy. There'll be time soon enough. Look. He got up slightly, looking around over the bushes. Then immediately he ducked back down. Oh shit! What the hell? What is it? Over by the bushes. Governor Raja's right there. Governor Raja? I also got up slightly, poking my head out of the bushes. It was super dark where we were. It was unlikely she'd see anything. Sure enough, over the dimly lit park benches, Governor Raja was sitting down. She had her eyes closed and she looked like she was taking deep breaths. Was she trying to calm down? She also had headphones in. Listening to music? Something else. I ducked back down. That's Governor Raja. Yeah, that's what I fucking said. What's she doing? Is she the target? Thane, buddy. The target's a guy in a grey hoodie. If we're going to try and assassinate the governor, it'd be a bit more involved than this. So then what's she doing here? Fuck if I know. I mean, the governor's building is right by the park, and I've heard she works pretty late nights. What are the odds she just come here by coincidence? It's possible, I guess. The other possibility is her appearance is somehow connected to the fact that our target's going to be appearing soon. If that's the case, though, it would have been nice if Art could have told us that. That seems a bit more likely. So what should we do? He took a moment to think. No need to change plans. Accident or on purpose, Aisha's presence doesn't matter jack shit. We'll simply snipe the target when they appear and leave. Plain and simple. Wow, you make murder sound so easy. You and I both let out small yelps at the unexpected sound of a new visitor. How the hell had Lara gotten the drop on both of us? The embarrassment was quickly replaced with paranoia. He and I both looked out over the bushes. Had Aisha heard anything? Oh, thank God. Looks like her headphones came in clutch. Whew. The hell, Lara? Wow, the big bad duet boy's scared by a girl like me. What does our organization come to? Oh, bite me. You gotta be better prepared than that. I expect this from Yi, but Thane, you're usually more on guard. Yeah, the hell, Thane. Shit. Everybody slips up now and then. Point of order, how'd you find us? Well, I knew the intercept point. You'd be hiding around here somewhere. Okay, but how'd you know about the intercept point in the first place? Marduk told me. And why would he do that? Wanted me to watch over you two as you did the job. Guess he didn't trust you or something. Quit with the editorialization. Wait, I see it. Probably sent you here so you'd get to know what it's like to actually do a bit of dirty work yourself. I've done plenty of dirty work, I have you know. And whatever, bottom line is you're gonna have to tolerate me for a little bit. So sorry for that. It's fine, it's fine. Right, Thane? Sure. Just don't mess up the plan. Duh, I'm not stupid. Speaking of things that might mess up the plan, what's with Governor Aisha being here? Fuck if I know. She's just here. You think she'll mess things up? It's probably fine. She's probably the reason why the target's visiting here. You figure? Yeah. I mean, I don't think she usually carries around a conspicuous leather suitcase like that on a day-to-day basis. Especially not in the dead of night walks like this one would hypothetically be. Leather suitcase? He popped up and looked over again. Huh, you're right. Yeah, that probably seals it. Aisha's probably meeting with the target. But the poor sap's gonna be offed. Wonder what Art's thinking about. It's a mystery. Lara moved closer and sat down between Yi and myself. You know, you don't actually have to be here. You can just say you watched over us. It'd be better for all of us. You really don't want me here, huh? Obviously. You're not meant for this sort of work. Then again, what work are you good for? I'm a valuable part of this organization. You could have fooled me. Clearly Marduk agrees with me. I'm the same rank as you. And are you questioning his decision? Pretty clearly, yeah. Wow. For the record, there's a lot more to this operation than money-making schemes and enforcement. Maybe you two have been so focused on your jobs that you've forgotten about that. But for an operation like ours to be successful, you've also got to be managing smaller scale stuff. Making negotiations, keeping everybody happy, delegating responsibilities, keeping morale up, all sorts of responsibilities. You might not notice it while I'm here, but if I wasn't around, you'd surely take notice pretty soon after that. The disdain in Yi's voice was barely hidden. He clearly was not interested at all in anything Lara had to say. You know, really, what is your problem with me? Why are you always so hostile? I don't know what you're talking about. We're in private right now, okay? Just the three of us? Can we not talk bullshit? Oh, look at that thing. Seems like Lara's taken off her friendly optimist mask right about now. Good to see it. I asked you a question. I really don't give a shit, Lara. And by that, I don't mean I give enough a shit about you to dislike you. Now that's a load of bullshit and you know it. What, are you afraid of me? Scared Marduk likes me more than you? Ha, as if. I mean, it looks like that's what it is. I just don't like people like you. People like me? The hell does that mean? Oh, you know. You know how you got to where you were. Work should matter. And I don't want... Enough. I spoke in a low, gravelly voice. But it was enough to bring both Yi and Lara to attention. You know, this mask of mine did have some advantages. This infighting is unproductive. Lara, you know as well as I, the two of us have had our differences. Yi, you've made your disdain for Lara quite apparent. But we're on a job right now. What's more, we're all Marduk's chosen. We should be professional enough to put personal emotions aside and focus on the task directly ahead of us. Right now, the two of you look like children. My words lingered in the air. For a moment, it looked like neither Lara nor Yi knew how to respond. And then Yi broke the tension. Jeez, Thane. Decided to shove a particularly large stick up your ass tonight? I know, right? I mean, jeez, who does he think he is? Our dad? Sure fucking sounds like it. Maybe Marduk put him on parental control mode. The central processor might have been overruled with the nanny protocol. Ha, maybe. Think there's a switch on the back of his head that does it? I wouldn't doubt it. Okay, now this is just bullying. I don't appreciate this. I don't like this. At this, both Yi and Lara had a light laugh. Well, so long as they quit sniping at each other. I'd rather be the common butt of the joke, if that's what it took. You know, maybe you're right. This feud's beneath us. Us? Oh, don't be like that. Either way, you're right. We've more in common than not. And I mean that between the three of us. I mean, we're all duet senior officers. We're all pretty fed up with Murdoch. Hear, hear. If I had a drink, I'd toast you on that. You know, I didn't break up the fight for us to slack off in a different way. I was saying we should focus on our job. Anyone tell you no fun thing? Yes. Yee. Ha! He's got you there. You two really are alike, you know. Thane, we're focused enough. We're not going to miss the target. We're just looking to kill some time. I didn't have anything to respond to. So either of you have any other ideas on how to kill time? I like playing games when I got free time. I actually keep a deck of cards in my pocket sometimes for that reason. No kidding. Yeah. We could try playing around at something. Maybe I could teach you star alignment. Nah. Card games have never been for me. Oh. Yeah, for whatever reason, smart as I might be, I was already rubbish at games like that. And I have a nasty personality, so I don't like doing things I'm bad at. I can see it. I thought we called a truce. Sorry. I said we should focus on the task. You proposed playing a game of cards. How exactly does that follow? Lara shrugged. Shame we gotta kill this target. He's a gambler, right? Would like to play a game against him. A gambler? Yep. I did not tell you thing. Our mark's this guy named Locke. Apparently a 2-bit con artist, typically wears garish suits. Likes to hang out around Nahoi's nest. He's the one who'll show up wearing a grey hoodie? The one we're gonna kill? Yep. Really have to wonder about Art's thinking, ordering a hit on a guy like that. It is weird. Art doesn't like contacting us for pretty much anything. If he felt like this Loco was a big enough problem to actually pay for our services, then the man must have something on him. But that's weird. Art lives a neurotically controlled life, all centered around eliminating weaknesses. I can't think of how a lowlife like Locke could pose a threat. And for that matter, why Locke's going after Art of all people. I mean, a grifter's going after Deismer, I get. But you think Polly would be the one at risk. Shh. I was the first one to notice, but Yi and Lara saw him right after me. From our vantage point, it was impossible that he could see us. But we could see him just fine. A man wearing a grey hoodie was walking down a stone path. Based on the direction he was walking, he was approaching the benches that Aisha was sitting on. Yeah, this guy's totally meeting up with Aisha. For whatever it's worth. Lara didn't respond. Good idea considering the mark was actually walking by now. What are you doing, Thane? It's time. Grab the rifle, take the shot. Oh, right. A cold shiver went down my spine. I had to ignore that impulse. I turned around and sure enough, there was the sniper rifle. One thing to do, I guess. I reached down and grabbed it. I got into proper firing position and I didn't have an excuse this time. I mean, I had several. I could say that it was the only choice, but it wasn't. I could say that it was necessary, but it wasn't. I could say that Yi and Lara would kill me if I didn't follow through, but they wouldn't. I could say that Yi and Lara would finish the job in my place if I hesitated, but they wouldn't. I mean, don't get me wrong. Not killing this guy would be a fucking pain in the ass. A major, major, major pain in the ass. A lot of things could and would backfire. My position would become very untenable very quickly. Saving this man would unquestionably increase the chances I end up dead at the bottom of the ocean. It would absolutely be the smartest move for me to just fire and be done with it. However, to do so would mean killing someone I didn't have to. That wasn't the Milo situation. This wasn't self-defense. This is premeditated murder. This is a crime, and to the highest degree. Sure, this person on the other end of the gun might not be clean. In some ways, he might have brought this on himself, based on the sorts of actions that he's been doing. But fundamentally speaking, he was an innocent man. I couldn't in good conscience say he deserved this. To move onwards, I'd have to kill someone who didn't deserve it. To move forwards, I'd have to become a murderer. If I did this, would I have no excuse left? Would it be just as bad as anybody else? Would I practically just be a duet member? Would I lose any sense of moral justification that I'd clung to before this point? And if that was the cost, was it worth it? Could whatever gains I might get from shooting this gun outweigh the cost of selling my soul? No. No, I was thinking about this all wrong. This wasn't an innocent man. Maybe he didn't deserve the death penalty, sure. This wasn't the same as shooting an innocent person. This was killing somebody in the game. I was wrong. There's a difference. When you enter the game, you assume a certain amount of liability. You work with sharks, deserve it or not, you can't complain when you eventually get your arm bitten off. I'm sorry about this. I truly am. If Milo stuck with me, fuck, so would this. But there was never a choice. Alright, I'm not going to skip it, but I'm going to fail it. I lined the scope up just right. Fire, shoot, aim, pull trigger. Wait. What? All those three were already there. I don't understand. Every single one of those came up. Oh, is it down here or something? Oh, you do nothing. You do nothing? Easy, easy. No itchy trigger fingers here. I hadn't actually ever fired a gun like this, so I hoped that it wouldn't be that hard. It wasn't particularly. Still, I need to make sure I didn't miss. Just then, the man seemed to slow down. How was I meant to know that? Gasp, breathe, hold breath, panic, freeze. God damn it. Those all were there as well, weren't they? Nothing again. Nothing. I did nothing, and consequently nothing happened. The slightest pause was just that, a slight pause. Keep aiming the gun. Aim right up, aim left up, aim right down, aim left, aim right. Left down. A little lower. A little to the left. Clear headshot, clear headshot. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Oh, that's bullshit. It's dots. That's bullshit. How the fuck am I meant to... We've already lost all our things anyway, so we must have just... What is that? 5, 1, 3, 4, 2, and many. That one. No. We're just gonna go through all of them. Oh my god, it's literally none of them, isn't it? Nothing. This is the worst one so far. I held my breath. My muscles stiffened. Pause, breath, aim, shoot, kill. Fire. And then, when I was just barely moving at all, there was a bit of resistance as I pulled it back. But I kept pulling, and at some point, it crossed the threshold. Time slowed. A small explosion occurred in the metal pipe in my hands, and as a result, a tiny chunk of metal began flying out of the front of it. Slowly, slowly it's made its way through the air. At a certain point, the man in the hoodie could do nothing about this fact. Their fate was simply sealed, and in the half a second that they had left to live, nothing could change the fact that they would die momentarily. The bullet flew through the air, and eventually it struck skin, then blood and muscles, and then bone. In a single horrific stroke, the bullet entered and exited the man's skull in the course of a single moment. And just like that, it was done. I'd killed him. It took a second for the man's body to flop to the floor. And that was that. Time resumed. I breathed out heavily. I'd killed a man. I was sort of in a state of shock, but that state was soon interrupted by the sound of a shriek. I looked over and saw Governor Ija jumping up, shouting, and then she looked around nervously, probably searching for the gunman. However, perhaps wisely, she soon decided not to stick around. She began power walking away from the body, away from the whole scene, just away in general. And before too long, she was out of sight. The only witness to the death fled. I didn't know how to feel about that. Then I felt something touch me from behind. I almost jumped to a fighting stance before I realised it was just Yi giving me a pat on the back. Nice work, Thane. Nice going. Good stuff all round. Job well done. Yeah, super job at murder. Really ended that man's life with style. Is that sarcasm I sense, Lara? Oh, you noticed. Clever. Lara, why do you have to be so derisive to poor Thane? What did he do to deserve it? I'm not being derisive towards Thane, I'm being derisive towards you. What did I do to deserve it? I don't know, let's start with giving someone a pat on the back for murder. A little messed up that, don't you think? Oh, come on, Lara. It was the job. It was a do-out-assigned job. You really gonna complain about that? I'm not complaining about the job, I'm just saying, even if it was a job, we don't have to celebrate murder. I'm not celebrating the murder, I'm celebrating a job well done. There's a difference. I don't see it. Well, that just sounds like your you problem. I'm gonna check the body. Alright, but Thane, do you think that's the best? I stood up. Oh, okay, sure, you go ahead and do your thing. I walked out of cover of the bushes. I'd left my sniper rifle with the other two. It was closer to morning than nighttime at this point. No cameras, likely no witnesses. This should be fine. Now, since I shot him in the back of the head, normally the victim would be lying face down. However, in this case, he sort of skidded and tumbled some because of the momentum of the bullet. He ended up lying on his side. I walked right over to him and bent down. I looked at the familiar face, then I stood up. I looked back towards Yi and Lara, who at this point were also out of cover. Then I looked at the victim's face once more. Lara, you said the target was supposed to be a gambler named Locke. Yeah. By any chance is Locke another name for Secretary Garni? Because if not, I think we got the wrong guy. Killed the wrong guy, huh? And you say awkward. Hate to see it happen, though it does happen quite a bit. Humans are all more alike than any of us care to admit. It's quite easy to fail to differentiate them. Oh, but I suppose I don't need to tell you that. There's a lot I could talk about with this scene. Shit Yi brought up, how Lara's been acting, the whole scenario. It was an interesting scene. So was the last one, and the one before that. Wait a second. 3 scenes? Oh yeah, you know what that means. Oh man, we lose. Time to check the bet. So as I've seen, no one else has put together who's currently donning the mask, so you lose. Haha, see this? This is the result of a lack of faith. If you just always believe in yourself like I do, if you can always do whatever you want with the confidence that you can pull it off, you'll never falter. Oh, what's wrong? Now, don't be a sore loser. You bet against the dealer, you lost. Nothing to complain about there. Fine. How about we just run this bet back? So, same thing. Does Thane hide their identity for 3 more scenes? Yes or no? Man, still no. No. Believing in Thane, huh? Oh, wait, I mean, no, oh, okay. Learned your lesson after last time, huh? Well, that's adaptation. That's survival, I respect it. I meant to say yes. I meant he would get caught, but whatever. Now we just have to haggle over the specifics. Alright, whatever. 5, like usual. Okie dokie, bet taken. Bet the same as last time. Want to win back what you lost? Well, whatever you're thinking, it's out of your hands now. All you have to do is sit back and watch. And enjoy. Though that last one isn't compulsory. I'll take your chips all the same. And we got a silver key, which means we can actually jump into Laverna's one in the next episode, or we can jump further into Thane's. I don't know, it doesn't really matter at this point. I think we'll do Laverna's in the next one. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it, thanks for watching, thanks for sticking out with me, and I'll see you in the next episode.